Welcome to Augustana Campus Getting Ready for You webinar on academic transition. My name is Alexis Anderson, and I supervise the Learning, Advising, and Beyond office here at Augustana Campus.
My name is Jayla Limberg. I am the Acting Assistant Supervisor of the Learning, Advising, Beyond office.
Welcome to the Getting Ready for You webinar on academic transition for students arriving to Augustana Campus, University of Alberta for fall 2017. Throughout this webinar, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to go over the many different services and supports you're going to find here at Augustana, as well as talking about your academic transition from high school to university. So university can be quite different than your high school experience. We're going to go over Bear Tracks in a little bit of detail, what it is and why it's important for you to know how to use it. We're going to touch base on our academic advisors, who they are and what they can help you with, as well as your academic standings. How is your GPA calculated here and what that means overall in your university career. So, services and supports. As you can see, we have a number of different services available here at Augustana. One is our student accessibility services, which help students with note-taking, exam accommodations, and that sort of thing. We also have personal and pastoral counseling available. You have the option of private or group sessions, and all sessions are confidential and safe and free of charge for students. The Augustana Students Association is our student governing body. They can provide help with things such as tutors, health and dental plans, and also information on all the clubs on campus here. Once you arrive at Augustana, you're going to receive what's called a One Card. This card is used for a number of different things, including signing into the cafeteria, helping with printing, and signing out library books. We also have an award and financial aid administrator, Lucy Skredding, who can help you with any questions you may have of scholarships and awards, student loans, and even emergency funding. Our Writing Center works out of our library and can help you with things such as essay writing and learning how to cite properly. We have an international student advisor as well, Corinne. So if you are an international student coming to Augustana for the first time, she's going to be a huge help to you in your transition. As well, we have an Aboriginal student advisor who is here to support our First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students. Our library is full service. You have access to Wi-Fi, printing, they even lend out laptops and video cameras, and they can help you with learning how to research properly. Our academic advisors, Kyla and Maureen, are here to help guide you through the academic side of your university experience, but we're going to touch a little bit more on them later.
All right, let's talk about the transition to university now. There's going to be a lot of differences from high school versus your new life at university. As our dean will say, the good news and the bad news are the same. Your professors will know your name, which means people do notice when you miss class. However, you won't be chased down like you might have been in high school. Ultimately, you will be treated like the adults that you are. So this comes with new student responsibility. As we saw in the other slides, and as we've talked about in the e-class, there are a number of services and offices on campus to ensure that students have the appropriate supports to be successful. However, it's ultimately up to you as to what you do with those supports. No one is going to chase you down to accept the help. We might contact you to see if you need some assistance, but it will be up to you to be willing and open to accept the help or to reach out if you are needing some support and you're not sure where to go. Time management needs to change for students as well. This can often be a struggle for students who are moving away from home, usually for the first time. If your parents have been telling you where to be and when to be there, they likely won't be doing that anymore. It's up to you to come up with an appropriate and realistic schedule to get to classes on time, eat your meals, do homework, and socialize. In terms of assignments and exams, it can be really helpful to buy one of those large 3-month wall calendars that you can write on and erase for the wall of your dorm room. We have these at the bookstore and also at Staples in town. These work well to plot all of your big assignments, papers, exams, to make sure that you're devoting enough time to prepare for them. For example, if you have a paper that's worth 30% of your final mark, you know you'll need to spend considerable time preparing for that. So you'll want to work backwards from the start or from the end of that deadline back to the start of the term. Deadlines is something that students need to keep an eye on. Each fall and winter term, there'll be a number of academic and other deadlines that students are responsible for knowing what they are and doing anything they need to prepare for them. So these deadlines in particular are things like add drop deadline in September and January, which is the last day that you can add or drop courses in Bear Tracks with no cost. After that day, you'll need to withdraw from courses. It will show up on your transcript as a W, and you'll pay at least 50% of the tuition cost, but it's something that you need to keep an eye on, and certainly you could pop in to see your academic advisors if you have any questions about academic deadlines. We're going to take a look at a video here. As we were discussing, in your transition to university, you're not always going to be successful at every class or every project or every relationship that you take on. What is important about these experiences is that you reflect on them and learn about yourself and your skills, your goals, and what you can improve. Watch this video made from a commencement address at another university about falling forward.
If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed? Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have? While it may be frightening, it will also be rewarding. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, remember this. Fall forward. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on him. I want to fall forward. Figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to do.
Now that you're admitted to Augustana, you will have received your CCID and password. This is important to help you log into the University of Alberta's portal, BearTracks. You're going to use this a lot over the course of your university career here. So you'll really want to take some time to get to know it and understand all of the different functions it has available. You're going to use BearTracks for things like choosing your courses and planning your schedule for next year and all your coming years. You will be able to see all your degree requirements under academic requirements. You'll also be able to print off confirmation of enrollment for things such as student loans, and also even print off unofficial transcripts if need be. Along with BearTracks, you also want to get to know your UAlberta email address. This is going to be your official email address while you're here at university. All of the university's communications will go through your University of Alberta email address. So it's important for you to be checking it regularly, starting right away, and continue checking it throughout your entire academic career.
As we've mentioned, you'll all have access to see the academic advisors. There's 2 advisors that are full-time, and they have drop-in times and booked appointments. So as you can see, there's a spot on our website for you to book in, or you can pop in during drop-in. Drop-in hours don't require an appointment, and they're first come, first serve. If you know that you'll have a number of questions that will take up a significant amount of time, it's recommended that you book an appointment rather than come in for drop-in. So you've got that full half hour to work with the advisor and get through all of your questions. You can also communicate through email if you're unable to come in person, and that email address you can see is up on the screen as well. This slide shows some of the different roles and responsibilities between the academic advisor and student relationship. So you want to make sure that you are coming into your appointments prepared with what questions you have, being as knowledgeable as you can about university policies and regulations, but knowing that the advisor can support you in finding that information. Taking some ownership of your academic success and program planning, starting to understand your degree requirements, which the advisor will show you, and communicating in an appropriate and respectful manner as you navigate through your career.
So here in university, we use an alphanumeric grading system, which is going to be a little bit different than high school for you. So you can see on the screen that there are letters associated with a 4-point grade scale. So you want to get to know and understand how these correspond together. So one thing that you'll want to know is that a passing grade is a D of a 1.0. All right. If you pass a class with a D or higher, you will not be permitted to retake that class. So how is your GPA calculated? So your grade point average is basically the sum of all of the values that you received multiplied by the units of course weight that you took. So on our website, you can see here, we have a fancy GPA calculator to help you out so you don't have to do those calculations on your own. So you can simply input all of the grades that you received and what the credit weighting was for each of the classes, and it will show you what your grade point average will be. So what is the implication of your GPA and your academic standing? So if you receive a GPA of 3.5 on a minimum of 24 credits, you'll be in first class standing. To make the Dean's List, you must get at least a 3.7. Now, to be in just satisfactory standing, which is what you want to be at, you need a minimum GPA of a 2.0. So this is a C average, essentially. So 2.0 or higher. Marginal standing is when you are not quite up to snuff for that satisfactory standing, so it's a 1.7 to a 1.9. What happens in this case is students are placed on what's called academic warning, and you normally have one full fall-winter session to return to a satisfactory standing of a 2.0. If for some reason you were previously unsatisfactory or had a marginal standing, you would be automatically required to withdraw from the university. And this brings us to unsatisfactory standing. So any student who receives a GPA less than a 1.7 will be automatically required to withdraw from university. So thinking back to our grading scale, again, a D is technically a passing grade of a 1.0. But if you get a D in every single one of your classes, you're only going to have an average of a 1.0, which is well below the unsatisfactory standing grade level. So you do want to keep that C average going.
So we all know that sometimes life throws us unexpected curveballs. Sometimes, even though we've done all the time management, we've made the plans, we've gone to class, we can hit some speed bumps. So if you find yourself, getting really sick during the term, having an injury, or having some issues back home that you need to deal with, the important thing is to remember that you do have support here on campus. You can talk to your professors or your advisors. You don't need to let them know the details, but just let them know that you're struggling with something. They can often provide some resources and help for you. And as you'll see in the e-class and on our website, there are a number of services on this campus to support you during stressful times. If you need to withdraw from a course, so we've talked about this a little bit, you can do this on the website. So there'll be a link to an online withdrawal form where you enter your CCID and password. You can also come into the advisement office if you need some help with that, and we can help you process that. The important thing to know is that a withdrawal on your transcript is not the end of the world. It's better to have a W there than a failing mark, and it doesn't calculate into your grade point average, so that can be helpful for you. So that comes to the end of our webinar on academic transition. If you have any other questions that we haven't addressed here, you can email us at admissions@augustana.ca, and you'll also find a lot of resources that we discussed in the e-class modules. So we look forward to seeing you in the fall.